The European Union is moving forward with an emergency summit today. That's despite U.S. President Donald Trump announcing a framework deal for Greenland with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte.
When it comes to Greenland, particularly that we ensure that the Chinese and the Russians will not gain access to the Greenland economy, to militarily to Greenland.
So that was Rutte earlier this morning, explaining what he and Trump discussed, though the specific details of this framework deal have been sparse. Meanwhile, the U.S. president is also calling off the 10% tariff threat on 8 European countries opposed to his plans to acquire Greenland. For more on what we know about this deal, we're joined by Akim Hurlman. He's the co-director of the Center for European Studies at Carleton University. Good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
Okay, so, I'll cast our mind back. Just hours before Trump's announcement that there was this framework deal in place, the U.S. president told the World Economic Forum that he is seeking immediate negotiations to acquire Greenland. He then had those meetings, which did not include Denmark or Greenland. What could have changed in such a short time frame from acquire Greenland to a deal that we don't know a lot about, but it definitely does not mean U.S. ownership of Greenland?
That's right. It's definitely a reversal for Donald Trump, and that was already clear in his speech in Davos when he ruled out a military option to acquire Greenland. And it had really become clear in the days before that that would, in fact, have been the only option, because Denmark is not willing to just cede Greenland or sell it or something like that. And the European allies and also the non-European allies like Canada were very clear that they were opposed to that option. So by taking off the military option off the table, it was clear that Trump was taking a step back, and this very unclear framework deal seems to be the next best solution, something that within the context of NATO ensures a better protection of the Arctic.
Well, we heard Rutte this morning give us a glimpse of what was discussed, and he focused a lot on security. But of course, neither he nor Trump have shared specifics on what this will include. But in Trump's speech, you'll remember he mentioned energy and resources in the North. In his scrum with reporters later that evening, he was asked directly about it, didn't answer. Where might they have found consensus? Is it around minerals and energy?
I cannot speculate. I do not know. The only thing that I do know is that the argument for why the United States needs Greenland was always weak, because or non-existent really, because the whole idea of NATO is that the allies protect their territory together, and that's something that they can absolutely do with Greenland. I have no insights into what could be in this deal, and I think even high-ranking politicians in Europe don't have any insights, so I do not know what exactly the way forward can be, or even whether this can still fall apart. We haven't seen anything.
What else do you think changed? Because the tone of President Trump changed as well from being adamant that they need and will acquire Greenland, which sometimes he called Iceland, and then coming out and saying this is a good long-term deal for everybody. He seemed appeased, even though he didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah, I think he got significant pushback, and he responded to that because the Europeans, that is the EU, but also the UK and also others like Canada, were very firm in rejecting his ambitions to acquire Greenland, making it very clear that only the military option would bring about this objective, and that in turn would not have been supported by US public opinion, would have had enormous ramifications for security, and would have resulted in significant market turbulence, and none of that is anything that Trump wants. So in a sense, it looks like he is taking a step back from these ambitions and working within the existing frameworks of NATO, which is something that the EU, Canada, the UK have always wanted. So in this sense, it is a success for NATO, for the EU, and for the United Kingdom. But we know how unpredictable Trump is, and tomorrow can look differently again.
EU leaders are meeting. This morning, there was this emergency summit called. How will that shift now that we've seen this framework deal announced? The tariffs have been pulled back.
Yeah, so it will no longer be about retaliation, which looked to be the main topic when the summit was called. It will definitely be about how this framework deal can look like. It will also engage with other topics, such as Trump's proposed board of peace for Gaza, about which most of the Europeans are very skeptical. And of course, a lot of damage has been done to the transatlantic relationship. A lot of trust has been lost. So it will, the summit will have a chance to take a more long-term view as to how the relationship with the United States can be repaired, whether it can be repaired, and if not, what the next steps would be for Europe.
Akeem Hurlman, co-director for the Center for European Studies at Carleton University. Great to have you back on the show this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.